So what business continuity planning is not, it's not a guide for operating the business as usual. The fact is that the business continuity plan is a plan that's put in place when a event occurs, a crisis occurs. It's not the blue sky day where everything's running well. That is a normal operations plan. It's we talked about this the question, the massive or cumbersome set of documents. It is not meant to be massive or cumbersome. I've seen that. I've actually seen plans in excess of 700 pages. So that is dual sided. The fact is that it needs to be something that's to the point, is clearly identified, and tells the individual the action and the deliverable that is needed by that individual in that role. And certainly is not going to be a crystal ball on every scenario. The fact is that if let's say an organization, one of the things that's put in place is a hurricane. You can also assume that if a derecho, a wind event, hits the area and you don't have derecho in your book, the fact is it's a wind event, and you would just go to the hurricane plan and be able to pull that in there. So there's going to be scenarios that when they occur, it's not going to be perfect. But the fact is, if a business planning continuity plan is done well, there'll be enough scenarios in there that you'll be able to look at one of those annexes and effectively be able to manage the scenario that you're having to face.
Tony, how do you help? How do you help organizations zero in on a couple of high? I want to call them, high impact risks, right? Quickly, because a lot of people get overwhelmed with, well, we're going to work 30 things at one time. So to become kind of a mile wide and an inch deep, versus, an inch wide and a mile deep on one or two where they're critical. How do you help them focus? Because it seems to me there's so many things. I guess that's what you determine from your risk profile, right? Um, how do you help people focus on a few things first versus trying to boil the ocean?
I'll give you an example that I recently was dealing with. So if you have two identical businesses, with one exception, the fact is that it can change the whole risk scenario. So there's two businesses. One business does not have any reason for anybody to come to the office. It's a service company. They provide service, and what they do is that everything is pretty much done with through electronic media, so credit cards, and be able to pay for those services. So there's really no face-to-face interaction. There's another business that has multiple facilities, but they actually have miniature walk-in centers in each one of their facilities. So if somebody wants to come and pay for their services, they can. The fact is that they're both in the same communities. They both staff about the same amount of people. The only real difference is one allows individuals to walk into their facility to make payment. And anytime that you have that scenario, the chances are two things. One, you'll become a crime target because now people know that you have money at that facility, where in the other application, the other facility, they don't. And then the other issue is that you just don't know what's going to set a customer off or somebody from the general public off in regards to being able to be upset about the services provided. They may come there and or they may get sticker shock. And the fact is that we were able to go in there and identify that their risk of that workplace violence was significant. And we were able, it had not been identified previously, and we were able to work with them on that and identify that this particular scenario is something you need to look at, where in the other case, they did not have to deal with it. When you take a look at a facility, and again, with all the information, natural disasters, it's very, because of the information that I've talked about that'll be provided online, you can go through there and you can start seeing the information that leads you to being able to say, in this area, my biggest threat is a major thunderstorm. It's not a mudslide because it's just doesn't have that characteristic. When you start looking at crime statistics, you're able to see that the crime in this particular area is increasing. In this area, it's lower. So obviously, we need to look at being able to come up with a business continuity plan that engages the fact that we may have some type of disruption associated with crime. So you just start using this information